in the United States, really divided states, it's sickening to watch, Bernie. There's been a few people who've tried to say that America's falling apart. The mischief maker in me would think that after weeks of us being rightly so critical of the way things have been suppressed in China, news and accuracy about the coronavirus, months and years about what's been happening in Hong Kong, all of a sudden we're talking about America in the same way. I mean, far be it from me to suggest that somebody could have tickled somebody's ribs to make them go out and get angry. But at the heart of this was the death of this bloke, George Floyd, which was an awful thing. By all the vision I've seen, there's no excuse. It's unacceptable conduct, and the police officers should be dealt with severely. But there is this division, and Floyd's death is one thing. Trump's response has not helped in the sense that he has also fanned some division. But I think there's a big chunk of people in the middle, Bernie, who are tonight saying, I'm not down there. There's a few thousand people out of several millions protesting. I don't relate to them. I just want to get on with my life. I don't like seeing people's shops being smashed, those sorts of things. There's a whole mixed bag of views out there.
Yeah, well, I think, Gary, the riots that we have seen across the Democrat states, this is a blue state riot that we've seen this week, because most of the Democrat governors, most of the Democrat mayors, they actually want this to continue, because this is a part of what they see as a campaign to bring down President Trump, keeping in mind we have an election, or they have an election in November. This is a part of a much wider campaign to bring him down. I believe that it will blow up in their faces. I believe it's going to really hurt them. I think a lot of people, having watched those scenes on television this week, would actually be very fearful of the future, and be particularly fearful of the future if a silly old duffer like Joe Biden became president. So I think those people who are out there this week and causing no end of trouble. I mean, I was devastated to hear of a bloke, a captain, former police captain called David Dawn, who retired just, I think it was last year. He became a security guard, and he was shot by one of the rioters and died this week. And you know, he is an African American himself, and he was just an all-round good bloke who was working for his, you know, to keep his family going after all those years in the police force. And he's not alone. He's not alone at all. This is outrageous what's going on. And, you know, if I tell you what, if Donald Trump does not prevail, America is finished. If these people are allowed to take control of the White House, America is finished.
I mean, this is the point, James, that I can't relate to what happened to Floyd. I can't stomach what happened to Floyd, but I can't stomach or relate to people who drop a pallet of bricks in front of glass windows and say, go smash that. That's how you fight for freedom. I think that a lot of Americans would be feeling the same way, that you've got to make a binary choice. I'm either with them or I'm against them. Well, I ain't with them. It's not hard for me to work out that I can't relate to any of this rubbish, no matter how loud they want to scream at me.
Look, I think enough people out there have sat and watched their Facebook pages or YouTube, and there's enough evidence out there to show you that the police system in America, depending on which state you're in, some cops are drunk with power, some are elected. It's a completely different system to what we've got here in Australia, where we've got state police and then we've got federal police. But the one thing I look at is, yeah, Trump's got his issues cut out for him here, and I think you're right. Some of those states are hoping that this violence deters people for voting for him. But I also look at the road to recovery after this COVID's all done. There's a lot of people in my parents' demographic that'll rethink a holiday to the United States. Is it safe? Is it the place I want to be? I don't want to be caught up in a riot. We saw what happened in other countries that rioted years ago when there was unrest. In Indonesia, look at how that affected their tourism. America's a bit bigger, of course, and I think they'll settle it down, but I think they've got more issues ahead, and I do feel sorry for Trump, but I do believe he'll romp it back in November.
Well, Bronwyn, it is the long march of the left, though, isn't it? This is no longer about the death of this chap, Floyd. It's no longer about that. This is the long march of the left to create victims, to destroy people's confidence in the society they're a part of. This labelling of the Antifa, the anti-fascist organisation, as a terrorist organisation is a step in the right directions, because there are people now trying to create hatred, whereas years ago in the 60s it was all about love. America's gone the full course now.
Well, I think what we've seen is, I think there were genuine people who had a genuine concern about what happened, and it was just appalling to see it. I think one of the best things to come out of it is Kanye West, what's his first name, has established a $6 million education fund for the child of of George
Kanye West, yeah.
Yes, and
Floyd.
I just think that is a magnificent gesture. He acknowledged that young child would never have had an opportunity to go to college, and has set it up in order that a college education will be made available. Now, we all know that education is a pathway that leads people to better use their talents and have a better life. And I think it stands out in what's happening. But we also know that people like Antifa have come in, they've planned it, they've had contingency plans, shall we say, waiting for a riot to spark, and then they'll move in and really hype it up to the looting and the violence that we've seen. With regard to Trump, people are horrified at what he said or what he did, but the fact of the matter is they believe that he meant it, and they have calmed down. And 24 out of those 25 states where it was happening are, as James said, they are Democrat states with Democratic governors and Democratic mayors. And that means that they are not in control of their police force. They are not doing the right thing by their citizenry. And I suspect that people are going to feel very unsafe, as you have said and others are saying. And that means that I think a law and order platform is what Trump will run on. But I'm very cynical about the Democrats' candidate. I mean, Joe Biden, you can't take that seriously. But I think if they think they've got a...
He can barely remember his own name half the time.
His running mate will be Hillary Clinton. And if he wins, he'll suddenly step aside and she'll get to be president. I think that's the plan.